Hello, everyone. I wouldn't mind being in a little bit not in the center of the camera because I'd rather have His Holiness and the shrine there. So please don't worry about me not being centered because that's always the problem anyway. So it's not a new problem. But if you can keep His Holiness and Dalai Lama's photo there a little bit centered, that would be much better. So I get instructions saying I should sit in the center of the camera, but I will refuse. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much joining this morning, as usual. This is our regular Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra's Sunday morning calm abiding meditation, which we've been doing, who knows, maybe early 30 years, every Sunday, followed by a Dharma talk. And sometimes I'm not able to do. Quite a lot of our senior members, Sangha members take the session. So this is one of those things you can count on to seek peace in spite of whatever goes on. This doesn't get stopped. So today I'm here at Virupa Retreat Center, which is located just outside Canberra, 20 minutes from the airport. This is our retreat center that we acquired in 2002, where we have many retreatants come and do personal retreat, as well as we conduct group retreats. All our lineage masters have come, graced, consecrated, gave teachings, and some of our senior members have done 3-year retreat, 6-month retreat, 8-month retreat, couple of weeks, couple of months. And we have someone who's been here retreat in the last 4 or 5 months and is still continuing doing that. And we have others who come and do a few weeks retreats, few days. We have 4 huts and a lovely view if you're seeking external view. But the idea of retreat center is not in a seeking of external view, rather have the right view. So we're going to do a short refuge and 4 manageable prayers. Everybody have a good reason to do that all the time, to renew refuge in the triple gem. No refuge in institutions, lineages, schools, traditions, personages. It's not Buddhism. It's Lamaism or lineagism. Buddhism predates all of these people-orientated schools. This is enlightened one-orientated school. It's called Buddhism. So that's why we take refuge in the triple gem. And then it's just it's not a formality just before prayer, meditations. We should always turn to light, especially if you notice you're in darkness. So it's not just a formula you recite, that's refuge. Real refuge is where we turn to peace and kindness and compassion and stillness, inspired by the teachings of the Buddha. So that's really, this recitation is just a reminder to renew your refuge frequently, not just early in the morning before other practice or before formality, but all the time we should stay in that light. If one knows what is the light, the enlightened one is the real light. It's not a person, not a statue, but rather the infinite capacity that lies dormant in all of us. If we switch our mind towards the good, and it's all lie there, it's all there to be accessed. It's completely accessible if you have the code. Got the passcode to enlightenment, and that's called 000. We call triple gem, but if you have to dial number, it's just to the 000 will do. People always think they should call 000 when they're in trouble. In Buddhism, we dial triple gem. So which is trying to switch on your good, your kindness that you received from inspiration of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. After that, we'll do those 4 immeasurables, which is the gist of being in light. Because when we are in light, we will practice compassion. We will need to practice loving kindness, because people are very, very allergic to sentient beings with sufferings. They can't handle. They think the sentient being with problem are someone they don't want to have. We're allergic. See? So this is the Dharma is the medicine, to the remedy to your vulnerability to suffer from sentient beings. We have to practice the Dharma with sentient beings, not cut off from someone or run away from someone, or as if you could do that. And also, it's really important that taking refuge, the triple gem, is giving real peace a chance. Otherwise, when we are not switch on with the refuge, we are making wars. We think it's a Putin is doing the war, but we are always warring with our confusion, with our selfishness, without realizing that we externalize them to people, things, events, and incidents, exchanges. We think that's truly existing problem out there. And as we are in complete peace, and only Putin is the one who's waging war. That would be good. That was the case. In a small scale, everyone has some kind of war in their hand, whether it's their past, or people, or their feelings, their perceptions, without realizing their perceptions. So that's why today's topic, war and peace, is a very important, not only today, but always. Okay, so first, that's just a little bit of introduction. Now we'll do the refuge. Join your hands at the heart, and we'll do the prayers. Thank you, everyone. Oyenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajere Pyajere Lada Ahavaja Ayehanda Ajare and Abu Adama Sangha Atere Yete Lada Ahaja Ayehanda Ajare Adavadu and Abu Adama Sangha Ajere Yede Lada Avaja Ayehanda Ajare Adavadu and Abu Adama Sangha Ajere Yede Lada Avaja Ayehanda Ajare Adavadu. All beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know apart from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion to those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know apart from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion to those near and far. and the cause of happiness, and the cause of of the happiness and free from attachment and burden and power. So we'll do a calm abiding meditation for 30 minutes with 10-minute slots. I will let you to choose what to do during those. But main feature is you observe 4S. The first S is stillness of not only your posture, also of your attention. Second S is your sincere altruistic motivation, and try to stay present to cultivate that so it is not stifled by boredom, laziness, distraction, and the like. Third S is serenity. That your attention should be very clear, sharp, and one-pointed, so that you do not get scattered or dull, but remaining very serene to fix your mind with the technique of mindfulness breath, counting forward or reverse, or keeping your posture scanned, or focus your attention on the image of the Buddha, or just simple breath, so that your attention is very serene and lucid, and all of that is the fourth S. Just simple. Simply observe the above. Don't try to complicate it. Don't seek some spiritual realization to occur in meditation. Simply sit still and be present. Hold the vigil for the peace. A way to make peace manifest in your realization instead of conflict and war and retaliation and blaming and enmity and the like. So with this, I'll leave you to it. I'll use the gong to time every 10 minutes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving your time and attention to this session. I'm going to make everyone to reflect on the subject of war and peace as the world is witnessing the terror and fact that current war has, and as well as all other small wars that are going on around the world, how many it is affecting, and how we may learn to try to make peace in spite of the war that is affecting so many people, and what is the relationship between war and peace. Because you don't say war and war. You need to learn how to make peace when there is a war. And often people think the war outside is the war that really we should stop. And I think that even the result of the first two world wars has taught us how to resolve, if possible, to prevent wars by learning to develop a system that all the countries have certain way of observing the rules by becoming member of United Nations, and therefore to prevent big wars, if possible, even small wars in the future. So all modern civilization had to learn to make peace by seeing the devastating effect of any kind of war, particularly fought between people and nations and continents. And the even world, the civil world itself has come to know that we should learn to make peace. And the whole United Nations Charter was based on that. What does it bring up in as an image in our mind is war is like death, destruction, and displacement, and huge, unimaginable humanitarian crisis. And in this 21st century, they can cause so much more destruction and death than they used to be able to do during First World War. They actually have to physically invade and send people to cause destruction. These days, it's simply a matter of pushing a button, firing a missile from thousands of miles away. And these countries we call developed countries, they only developed to cause war, destruction, and death. They're not better to make peace, because where they need to lead us to make peace, they're not making peace. All of them are vetoing, and they're not really using their power or leverage to make peace. They always take side, and then even the excuse to go on war, use military to demilitarize other. Can you imagine that? How could hatred bring peace by using hatred? Like the Buddha said in the Dhammapada, you never bring peace by hatred with hatred. You don't use aggression to resolve aggressive behavior of others. You don't use aggression to have peace. You don't use hatred to bring peace. You use patience and understanding and compassion, and how much there's no winner in the war. So when you look at the image of a war, there's a death, destruction, escaping, refugee crisis, and all the beautiful buildings, road, infrastructure took years and centuries to build, are destroyed are just a matter of minutes. And they are called superpower. They are super destructive. These shouldn't be called superpower countries. These are super destructive countries. But I wasn't really going to go on talking about so much on war, because war is already happening. What is already happening is not something you and I, by talking about it, can stop. We can only wish that someone whose mind is in his head actually come to his senses and realize what the hell is doing this. These people look completely like same people. They all talk same country. They're all beautiful people. They speak. They haven't done anything. They simply want to, over territory, over sort of years of inherited hate from centuries and centuries, over just trying to have some control over some land, when one has no control over one's own neurosis and hate. What kind of possessions and a biggerness size of the land we will get? The country that has biggest land mass is USSR, but still they're not happy with that. How much more land do you want? How much more people that look just like Russians you want to kill? Doesn't mean the people, if Ukrainians are black, they can justify to kill. Even the Russians, when they actually reach there, they say, I don't want to kill these people. They just look like us. Exactly. They're completely gone mad. From Buddhist perspective, the war has understood that this is a kind of world war now. Maybe it's right now it's localized, physically localized in poor Ukraine, because Ukrainian people haven't even fired one bullet in Russian territory. It's all invaded in their land for whatever ongoing historical conflict due to hate, greed, resentment, and ignorance, stupidity, and egoism is cause of the war. They don't know that, of course. They don't know that. They're afraid there's some huge, great expansion is coming from the other side, and then they want to stop that. This kind of ignorance and ill will is the cause of the war. Buddha said the Buddhist person have to make peace within themselves. They have war with them. We ourselves have a kind of small wars in our hand. People are firing missiles of hate, of resentment, of blaming, and resentment, guilt, and not only maybe not so much with people, but themselves. A lot of people have wars within themselves. They're firing missiles to themselves. And they're having direct hit, they're not missing the target because there's not much to miss. Even those modern technologies, they miss the target. But those hate and self-hate and self-ignorance and ill will, and towards their mom or X or Y, whoever people have enmity and resentment, they're constantly firing missiles, verbal kind of a hate language, hateful languages people are using. People are listening to those hateful languages, let their eardrum destroyed by it. One idle gossip, that's all there is. So when the Buddhist concept of peace, war and peace, is not so much try to prevent the war out there. Of course, would be good, but prevent this war that you're making in yourself. Yeah, your own war with your own hatred or ill will, resentment, guilt, grief, and desire, wanting your way, and laziness, and idleness, and procrastination, and doubt. These are the real enemies. These are the real enemies we have to learn to make peace. Poor people like Putin or whoever is calling the shots are a sufferer of this huge suffering. He has so much delusion. Not only Putin as an individual, but the collective kind of shouldering the responsibility of ill will of all these enmity that he thinks that his nation has suffered in the hands of whatever who thinks his imagined enemies are. He has this collective negative responsibility, try to revenge. And what a neurosis. This is the real war. So what does the war do? Death. He's dead, basically. Someone who's ordering people to go and shoot and send that much military machine to somewhere else is definitely dead. His humanity is dead. What would he think of? What would his mother think of? Was, oh, I'm glad my son became president. Probably that lasts maybe half an hour, maybe a couple of days, very happy. But what would his mother be thinking? Oh gosh, my son is responsible for sending all this military mission and killing all this beautiful country, destroying this. So who's the winner? Nobody. It's completely, you can see the afflictions is the worst enemy, And the Buddha talked about conquering the enemy. The maras is a klesha mara. One has to conquer one's afflictions. But most people, its hardest thing is to recognize their affliction as enemy. They project and externalize the enemy to whom you want to wage war as out there. Whether they think they've been fighting 8 years or 30 years. These people got independence only 31 years ago. They celebrated, But, how long does independence last? How long does freedom last? How long does victory last? It's delusion to think that you can invade whole land, demilitarize all things, denazifize. What is the word? I haven't even heard that word before. Denazi? Denazification. Denazification. Looks like this is the real Nazi act. You can't denazify with the Nazi act. You can't, bring peace with hate. So you can't denazify with the Nazi-like act of brutal aggression and violence, use of such harmful, destructive weapons. You look at the streets, you just look at some of the images, it's just awful. They still say they're not trying to kill civilians. But what's the point of killing military? They're just uniforms. They're same. You don't kill the civilians, but you kill the fathers and uncles of the civilians. So what the difference? So stupid way to wage war. Now, that looks very bad out there when we look at the war. But quite a lot of time people are doing just that on individual scale. They have so much resentment and ill will to their mother, to their in-laws, to their father, to their ex, to their wife, or some people even worse, to themselves. They're waging wars. They're having all this monologue, all these bad meetings when there's no agreement. There's lots of meetings within themselves, no agreement. Oh, I wish they never had the meeting. They had such a bad conversation. They got more crooked than before. So there's a lot of this very, very unproductive meetings. So meditation is try to have a productive meeting, try to surrender the wrong views, try to reconcile, drop some of the differences. How can we come to the middle way? Try to stop the mutual destruction by waging wars and pointing finger at each other. Amazing. You'll just, nowadays we are much more affected by war because everything is coming at your face, because everybody's got what they call smartphone, if you don't use smartphone, then probably you're a smart person. And people who are retreat is very good. They're retreating from using smartphones, so they will not be agitated by that. I know some people, some students, I know that they say they haven't got a smartphone, but then as a result of the pandemic, they all needed to use it because you can't even go anywhere without a smartphone. They wouldn't even let you to check in. Now we're checking in the war rooms. Now we are checking in the war room. As soon as you and I will be just as emotionally become affected by these amazing claims and counterclaims they make, and all the images that they show. It's just horrendous. Just the sheer photos of the satellite photos of how many military missions are just rolling into this country from all directions. it's like a thousands of animals, wild animals attacking your little house. You have nowhere to go. You're just swarmed by from all directions. So when you see that, now affliction is like worse than that. Affliction is worse than that, because you can sight Russian convoys of a military machine, but you can't sight your afflictions. You can't cite your wrong views. Yeah, likewise, we can think if other person did this to me, he did this to me, he shouldn't have done that. And we think they are the cause of our anger, our ill will, our sadness, our grief. But we never know that our afflictions are creating these very things. So when we talk about war and peace, we have to learn peace is not a thing. Peace is what you have to do. You have to do by learning to surrender. They are asking each other to surrender war. You surrender, that's it. Then we will stop war. You surrender, we will stop. If they stop, the other will stop necessarily. No, they want the others to stop, but neither side wanted to stop. Particularly the aggressor, the invader, is not going to stop. Of course, they're going to defend at least their border or their home or their streets. Of course you do, because you're already coming 1,000 miles bringing these destructive weapons. And yet they're saying, you guys surrender, and then we will stop. Because they came with greed. They wanted to get the land. They want to totally demilitarize or whatever. Demilitarize with another military. Yeah, that's right. It's just substitution. I call them substituting military with the military. with different tanks with a different number on it, and different political ideology otherwise would be more militarized. The military then moves from further to the west, all the way to NATO borders, and in a few years' time, they will be now facing these very demilitarized, so-called demilitarized, becomes now militarized in order to, causing great kind of buzz and a fear and anxiety already. So therefore, you can see there is no intelligence in the intention to demilitarize. What is demilitarizing? So that you just totally shouldn't make sure that they don't have any weapons, but they have to live under your barrel of the gun. That's not demilitarizing. Demilitarizing is you don't bring any weapons, just come to make peace on the table, bring no machinery, and come to talk the differences on the table, bring no military, then it would be demilitarized. Denazification. Yeah. What did the Nazis do? Destruction, aggression, counterclaims, telling lies. And that's exactly they're doing. They're exactly doing to fool the people. So that's worse than Nazism. So you can see how ignorant it is, the people who justify them coming to the world, how ignorant they are. Because they're ignorant, they're desiring winning the country under their dominion. And would they bring any peace? No. You think the Ukrainian will give up the next few years? No. They think they should have taken in a few days ago. I bet these Ukrainian people will not be completely invaded. Years. You wouldn't believe. Number of refugees may be increasing, just as that many number of militant will increase. Why? Whole world is supporting them, and everyone is wanting to go and support these, and everyone is start chipping in with hate, with anger, and it will just like you're adding more fuel to the burning fire. You could not use such heavy machinery, military, to put off other people's hate. You have to show them real understanding. Uselessness, is complete waste of every single effort put to come to other people's land and to invade is going to cost many more times of that to the very invading country than it wins anything. So what the desire? It's desiring undesirable things out of ignorance, of course. He's desiring to stop, I don't know, NATO membership. Now, what's the membership of? You can't stop the membership of other people. When you're hurting so many people, you're actually making it worse many more times. But if you never brought any machines, really talk as a Because it looks like to me, when I see the Russians or anybody who's a Ukrainian, they really look same. The language, the pronunciation, the cultures, seems like identical. Of course, they don't believe that. They say they hate Ukrainians and Ukrainians hate. Likewise, people are all are divided by the ignorance that we are same human beings, who depend on love, kindness, compassion, mutual respect. And when we practice that, then we will have peace. Otherwise, even between husband and wife, two people, 5 people living in the same household, there's no peace. Why? Because they're all having wars. They're having wars at breakfast table. They're having war in the bed. Not agreeing to what they're going to do in the morning or afternoon or whatever. Squabbles, and then in the whole day they're fighting wars. And some run away for days and disappear, and they don't want to talk. And the other one says, why should I talk to her when she didn't talk to me? And people are doing that kind of wars all the time. They think one is Nazi, the other one is military. I want to denazify you. I wanted to demilitarize you. Your mouth is so bad. You spoke that word, and I can never make peace with you because you're such things. Basically, we're all doing that in that state of mind. If you don't have happiness, it's because of that, because you're also fighting wars with your own afflictions, but you think it's the other person, and therefore you can never denazify the other when you yourself is one big Nazi. And until you acknowledge that I too am a big Nazi follower, I really need to take refuge in peace and surrender my behavior of Nazi-like kind of a rebelliousness and total annihilation of the other, saying they're all wrong, their views are bad, just treating the other as just like someone you can just shoot. As long as you have this attitude, as long as we have pointed finger, we are all big Nazis, So I'm using this. I haven't used the word Nazi so many times. we call afflictions. We call maras. We call karmas and things like that. Now maybe in this February, March 2022, since 24th of February, now we have heard this word denazification. Yeah, we are talking about nullification of these wrong views, and then make peace and try to stop this wrong view and recognize the wrong view coming from the self-centeredness, They don't even know it's an enemy's convoy or our own convoy. They can't tell because they both look the same. They both are just about to shoot. They think it's the enemy, they'll shoot. That's deluded. They don't even know who the hell they are shooting at. For what? Those soldiers, when they got really, really surrendered or they get arrested, they just feel, these people are same as me. Why am they going to hurt? We have nothing to fight over. Why did they send me to do this? Why did I become an army? And then realize, oh, I didn't realize this was the profession. And then the millions of people's profession, they think it's an honor, dignity, because they got some things to wear here, badges to hang here, dangle over in front. They think it's some glory or something. But glory from killing others? That's war. Proving someone wrong? You think that's victory? That's death. That's destruction. That's destruction of not just one life, but many lives. Almost stop all chances of being born as a precious human rebirth. So what we can learn from this kind of witness war and the huge terror that we all are affected by just hearing about it. People who suffer the natural disasters like flood, fire, they are just as badly affected, but they don't have enmity. Amazing. They experience the same destruction, and death and loss and everything. But they don't know who to be angry to. Why? Because it's a causes and conditions are so enormous. It's so powerful. You can't. So actually, same case. This war is fire. This war is fire. It's raging fire. It's just what does they do when they fire those things? They turn everything into fires. So it's just raging fire. Even our governments and country leaders all might think, oh, Russians are the invader, but we shouldn't do that. If we do that, we are contributing to the hate. We should feel every single mother, sister, father who have their sons go to Ukrainian fight and this, what would be their life? They're also being killed. It just there would be sleepless nights for many mothers, many fathers, whole country. You think they feel glory? They destroyed one city in Ukraine. Oh, they took another city. They think they glory? Stupid ones do that. Oh, they think they want another. They put their little flag on there. But all the war veterans are what are they? They lost. They died many times. They're hardly alive after they have heard the gunshot from enemy. Let alone themselves make successful killing millions and come back home and receive as a brave soldiers. They would put the names up there, put this, but that's not this delusion. What kind of glory is that? What kind of glory is that by killing other people? Look at the soldiers. We thought it's only a couple of years was celebrated. He was very war hero and so on. Now everybody realized he's not a hero. He's probably opposite of the hero. No? How much of your victory and glory in the name of violence and aggression and victory of others are mistaken? In the past, the King Ashoka was so lured and drawn into bloodthirsty power. He used, he didn't have those destructive machines like those these days, but nevertheless, he invaded all India, different countries, brought all into his country. He thought he was glorious. Later on, when he really come to his senses, he realized, what the hell, what has been going? He finally come to his senses only after hearing the Dharma. When he met Upagupta, Venerable Upagupta is the fourth patriarch after Shakyamuni Buddha, Mahakashyapa, Shanavasin, or Upagupta. Upagupta, predates even Nagarjuna. Some people think it's only Nagarjuna and Buddha. Come on, Nagarjuna came in 2nd century. That's 500 years after Buddha passed. What happened between the two? There were many, many luminaries like the arhats. So Tibetan Buddhists seem to sort of queue jump a bit, they don't think they are arhats. Nagasena and this Upagupta is the one who taught the ruthless Kala Ashoka. Kala Ashoka means the black, the evil Ashoka. His name was not Dharma Ashoka. Only after he realized how Kala he is, how evil he is, how black he is, and dropped his violence and took refuge and made peace with his own ego and surrender, and then just see the futility, the undesirable violence and destruction, death, and he would have killed his brothers, He killed so many, homicide, whatever. He did all. Then he come to his senses. He took refuge. He really came and took refuge. So someone like Putin, it will be good to find Dharma. If he came to Dharma, he would say, "Gosh, I'm so mistaken. this is so useless. What undesirable thing I'm doing, making all these beautiful young men soldiers. All these Russians are very wonderful people, very intelligent people, but their all intelligence is misguided. They're using to have this competitive war machine to compete this illusory enemy. Nobody's interested to go to war with Russian because both of them have got deadly destructive, while all the countries passing only sanctions, not actually fight, because they both have these most destructive weapons they should have never invented in the first place. This is the situation now. Everybody's sort of keeping quiet because they themselves are almost responsible for bringing everyone that situation. So what did the modern scientific discovery of atomic weapons succeed? This stalemate. Others couldn't do anything. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's good. Nobody wants to do the actual physical war. But they're still fighting. The war is still happening. Real war is war of the delusion. That's still happening between America and Russians. All NATO members are happening. They're all fighting now psychological war by putting sanctions. I mean, in many ways, Russian may be even able to capture whole Ukrainian one way or another in few years' time, but still there will be no peace, neither in Russia nor in Ukraine, and less so in the neighboring countries. They will be waging these not only sanction wars, but all kinds of wars, so much so the Russians never got anything they desired. They received the undesirable outcomes. Why? All these economic sanctions, all of this going to start to hurt. So the war is fought still. They're not firing machines, but the war is still happening already between America and Russia, and on top of that the NATO's, and top of that some of the nations, and other countries like China is out of all these, the loser is China. Is showing how bad China looks, siding this one who's invading. So this war, if there's any teaching that this war can teach us, is to reveal who are the perpetrators, whether the active ones or passive ones. So these are the superpowers. They're super destructive. They're massive. They're economy problem. They might have so much wealth, so much prosperity, but their people have no peace. Their people have no freedom. Their people have to go to fight a war they don't want to fight. Why are the Russians all rebelling against the war? Because they don't see any point in it. But yet their leaders don't see that. Why? It's completely blind. I mean, you can't force a blind person to see, can you? But collectively, that's what they have appointed. I don't know whether he got them appointed or not. Maybe Russian doesn't do any election, just like in the West. They don't see what they're doing. He's completely intoxicated by hunger for power and can't stand the rest of the world, because otherwise nobody's there to wage wars, So we need to have compassion to people like Putin, not because he's suffering at the hand of others, but he's suffering under the hand of his own unrecognized inner enemy, the greed, hate. He's got so hate. You see those meetings. He had this meeting with Security Council. He was one by one. He was cornered. He was using that kind of aggression already. I think the point of doing this is just going to bring no benefit at all. Even short term, there's no benefit. Long term, of course, there's no benefit. Likewise, we individually also, from the Buddhist point of view, peace is. I remember one year, a group of students from country New South Wales came, like nearly 200 of them, and they wrote to me saying, "Can I give a lesson to them to augment their peace study?" And I said, "What have you done to peace study?" They have studied Dalai Lama's work. Very lovely, isn't it? Many who has received Nobel Peace Prize, but his message of pure kindness, universal compassion, and one humanity, no time for war. His Holiness definitely said we should demilitarize the whole world. Demilitarize the whole world because he never had one. He has actual moral authority to say the world should be demilitarized, world should be peaceful. He never said one religion is better than the other. He said we are all one. We should promote the importance of universal responsibility, each is brother, sister, more than divided by religious or cultural or the ethnic differences. And he actually said that world should be demilitarized. If 21st century world is actually intellectually and emotionally, scientifically really advanced, they should learn to actually demilitarize in their own life, in their own country. Because kids who are doing study of peace understand Dalai Lama's message of universal responsibility and humanity and interreligious harmony. All of this is the kind of a universal message of peace. That all suffering comes from us versus the other. All the peace comes from us. We are one. Yeah, let's do it together. Because we are in the same boat. Now you can't say the war is there. It will starting to affect at the petrol station. You will starting to feel the war is affecting you. It will start to affect your petrol pocket. You can see the petrol price going up like double. Like now, is it double? Already double. Probably will be $2 in maybe. And then that much more with all kinds of things. You wouldn't believe how much stress, how much anxiety. Already quite a lot of Russian tycoons commit suicide, because they could never believe this would happen. Nobody's fighting them any weapons. Nobody come to invade them. Why? Because their own leadership's action has now caused those billionaires' business drop almost like 30% overnight, and then like this, like that, like that, like that. So this kind of war and consequences is felt everywhere. So of course we feel so pitiful to the people in Ukraine. Nearly 200,000 already refugees. How many displaced? Yeah, you can see that, and just as much as Russian people who are coming to invade the country. What the hell did they think they're doing? All this fighting, all these things on this street. What the hell they think? Did they think they have a direct shot or what? What direct shot is that? What did you achieve? Destruction is beautiful building, beautiful bridges that took years to build, and you think you can destroy in 1 second, and you think that's a great achievement? How deluded we sentient beings are. And yet they think we give glory to them. They'll give some recognition to them. Who are depressed, sad, couldn't sleep, become drug addicts, and what else? Worse, their life's completely lost. They're all heartless by engaging in such. And a lot of the people with deep emotional problems in the world at large are also waging these kind of wars. They're actually having wars with themselves, their past, their mother, their father, or their boss, or whatever. They still haven't made peace with them. And that's the problem. So we're not talking about world war that can be stopped. You can't stop world war if you can't stop one individual who have to war. Every individual has to have stopped the war that they have on their hand. Everybody's got a blood on their hand, so to speak, because the way they speak about somebody, where they don't talk to somebody, where they don't greet to somebody, you can tell how much ill will and enmity, resentment, dislike they have. This is the war. This is when we in Buddhism we say victory. Buddha is a victorious one. Is one who can recognize this difficult enemy to recognize, and difficult to recognize enemy, and even more difficult to conquer. First difficulty is difficult to recognize the real enemy. The real enemy is one's own self-importance and selfishness and anger and righteousness, and not seeing that is the ignorance of vidya. Even if you're educated, even if you have double degree, even if you have PhD in this, even in this, but you're still ignorant person. You're still ignorant because your sufferings are not caused by lack of things or that, or caused by selfishness and ignorance, and then hate and doubt, and then lack of discipline, and then desiring undesirable things, and not getting things done, no responsibility, and as a result of that, one hasn't got anything to feel happy about, neither with the relationship with people, nor with what one's doing in one's everyday life. Of course, that is the depression. That is the anxiety. Why? Yeah. War veterans have depression, anxiety too, because of that. And also ordinary sentient beings have anxiety and depression because of that. They also have fought many useless wars, and they have just harmed themselves more. And they try to prove the other wrong, and in fact, they become more wrong. They try to denazify themselves, other people, but they become bigger Nazi themselves. So samsara is perpetuated with these. It's really important to spend your time in your deep prayers and meditation, and not add to the collective hate there is towards whoever it is, but try to see them all as object of deep compassion. Because they're ignorant, because they're so greed-driven, they don't realize what they're doing is complete waste of every single effort, manner, energy, resources, weapon they use. It's complete waste of time. All the countries have a huge budget for defense, but it's all offensive. Everybody said they should be demilitarized, but they're always militarizing themselves. They're increasing the budget. Out there, that actually shows that how much has Nazism has increased. So we need to really use our prayer and meditation, and put people like Putin in our prayers, so that let him come to his senses, because all the others got no power. They can be sent to the meeting, and then Putin said no. But he has to switch his mind off, realize how senseless, useless this is. Even some countries' leaders might be phoning him, but he's not willing. He said, no, this is just beginning, he says. Oh, this is just a beginning gift. More gift is coming, as he's going to do some great world. He doesn't know how much destruction is already caused, and he wanted to thread that this is not going to stop. This is just beginning of it. That's how mad he is, poor thing. Where is his mother? Where is his brother? Does he not know his mother will be destroyed by thinking what her son is doing? Is he become achievement? No. It's the hell bringing on to his own family, on his whole country. You can see Russia, nobody's firing weapons on them. All the Russians are miserable because they all feel guilty. They feel guilty. They feel unproud to be Russian because they never knew that they will need to do this. I mean, only 30 years ago, their country got liberated, hopefully from communism, and now they have to be liberated again from Putinism. Yeah, now we have to liberate from Putinism. we have to de-Putinize. We have to de-Putinize Putin. What do you think? Yeah, of course. A couple of years ago when I saw he was greeting some Mongolian Buddhist monks, and he was sitting with them. I was thinking, hopefully they'll influence this guy. But I don't think it was just a photo opportunity. But you wish he had a really good. I think some of these leaders really need a good Dharma. They just need a good half an hour talk, and then they come to the sense if he listens. Really, he just doesn't have the opportunity we need to in the Dharma. He met monks, but that's about it. But he never talked about Dharma. He has some friends. We have some Tibetan Buddhist teacher who is a movie actor in America, Steven Seagal. He's supposed to have friendship with him, not him or come on, go and talk to him. Go and talk to him. Pick up the phone and try to de-Putinize the people who is influenced by his charm or his kind of wrong views. So that's why it's very important to not spend time thinking who's right, who's wrong. Of course, we can't help with that, But as a person who wants to make peace and develop compassion, we need to develop compassion to all equally. Not one being wrong, the other one is not wrong. They're just so confused. This years, centuries of hate and ill will in Europe, in that continent. You look at the map of Europe, how many things have changed. Incredible. Some of the brightest minds come from that region. Some of the most destructive people also produce from that land. So that is the sad story of the world today, and it warrants everyone's compassion. And peace from the Buddhist perspective is to put no one as at odds against each other. See all as our past lives, mothers, and sentient beings who has not recognized that and waging this kind of aggression and harm to each other. What a pitiful. What must be like to be Putin's mother and family member? Do they think they're celebrating his accomplishment? Probably not. So with this in mind, we need to put our thoughts to rest and try to bring some solace. So with this, I will conclude here, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me in this talk. And please stay safe. There's so much natural disasters, as well as this kind of collective fear and enmity and anger, as well as inner confusion. So please keep your mind in a good space. Do not let these things agitate you. So with this, we'll now conclude here. Thank you very much, everyone. Through the dedication of merits, may the peace come to the mind of the leaders, and a quick, peaceful resolution may be found both individually, nationally, regionally, and most importantly, in a whole universe, by the blessings of the inspiration and work of His Holiness Dalai Lama and his message of peace. Om Bade Mere Mere Hoga Adeva Anzaga Honeza Eale Verada Mirame Oshana Badadese Erenda Ayana whatever Asama Alove, Awade, Ajade, Degade, Ede, Excelem Body, Eva, Edanaya, Vedas, Bembo, Me, Thank you, everyone.